Hey, so I decided I'm gonna try and do something new for myself and do a monthly gaming vlog, I guess this would be considered, where I talk about all the games I played each month. I feel this would be a fun and more consistent way for me to talk about whatever random games I'm playing each month, and a much easier and quicker form of video than my usual videos. I'm not scripting these, I'm just gonna yap whatever's on my mind with these games and just plop a longer gameplay clip over what I'm speaking versus changing up the clip to match what I'm talking about each sentence. I think this will be good practice for me too for talking to the mic, because that's always just one of the hardest parts for me when it comes to this. And I guess it'll help me be a little bit better at recording without pausing so much to or not stumbling over my words as much. Apology in advance, though, for all the ums and likes you're about to, experience. This is definitely a fun month for me to start this, because I played a lot more than usual this month, or at least a larger variety of games. In general, I've been trying to allow myself to play a little bit more spontaneously than I have in the, past few years, and you definitely see the results of that this month. Also, I do try to be wary of spoilers. I don't outright spoil anything, major spoilers in this at all, but if you're worried, especially with the first game, I totally understand and put timestamps in the description if you want to just skip ahead to whatever game you want to specifically hear about. But let's now dive into the games, which starting off, I'm going to talk about the games I've finished, which I have 5 of. My first completion for the month I got on June 11th, and it was Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which took me about 56 hours and 54 minutes to complete. This has been the main big game I've been playing since I finished Donkey Kong Bonanza back in February, and yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I know when I first started, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good, but I don't know if I see the full hype behind this. The story hooked me, and the gameplay was fun, although I kinda was not, great at the parrying and dodging aspect, but it was fun. But I think it was the end of last month and the beginning of this month where the gameplay was really starting to hit with me, and I was getting the parrying down a little bit better. And as I got towards the end of the story and a lot of the mysteries started to get unveiled, that's when I was definitely oh, I see now. This is definitely up there with The Last of Us as one of the best written video games I've ever played. And I know I was definitely connecting all the dots and pieces once I learned what was going on in the world, and yeah, just phenomenal. I think the point in the game at the beginning of the month I was at the second Axon, which is towards the end of Act 2, and this was around the point where the character building was getting really fun for me. I was starting to have a lot more options with the weapons and Pictos and Luminas, and I was able to build the characters to just play the way I wanted them to. For Verso, I gave him the Duelist swords, which allowed him to basically attack twice, and then I gave him abilities that allowed him to basically perpetually heal himself and was always maxed out in his AP every turn. So the only way he was dying usually was if I came across an enemy too difficult for the point I was in the game, and they would just insta-kill him. While he was definitely my most OP, Mael was also pretty busted too and would stack major amount of burns and deal massive damage. Lune was really good too, as I was starting to really get the hang of combining her elemental attacks together and taking advantage of her abilities. I don't think my builds for the other characters were nearly as strong as those 3, which became my main 3, but I really love how you could just build anyone to be super powerful in this game. It just solidifies this as a really great RPG. I did try to do a few of the side stuff I could before beating the story, but I think now that I'm done with this for now. There are a lot of high-level challenges I could have tried in the post-game, but I do have a lot of other games I really want to get to this year, so I was satisfied with finishing it at the end of the story. One more thing I want to mention is that the music is really, really good in this. I think my favorite track from the game is, excuse my French, Une vie à Tiamer. That was a pleasant surprise when that started playing, even though that was the hardest boss fight for me, at least for the main story. I feel like this game's soundtrack is gonna stick with me for sure. I do definitely highly recommend this to anyone who's interested, as it has one of the best written stories in a game, I feel, and It has a really great combo of both turn-based combat, but with like action with parrying and dodging and all that stuff. This game is definitely a work of art, and I'm really happy I got to experience it. I really enjoy when I venture out from my usual franchises and play something unique and really high quality like this, and where it has me thinking about the story well after I finished. My second completion I got this month was the original Tomb Raider, which I played as a part of the remastered collection. I finished the game on June 20th, and it took me 15 hours and 55 minutes to finish. I started this game last month, since it was the winner of the How Long to Beat community's Game of the Month, which I like to partake in from time to time when I can, and I thought this was a good excuse to finally give this one a go. I've played the reboot Tomb Raider trilogy, but I've never actually played the original ones at all, so they've always been ones I've wanted to try. Admittedly, from what I've seen and heard, I was a bit nervous of how the game would like control, because it is old, and the platforming always looked kind of funky and rigid. But at the same time, I was really curious to see how the series started off because I really like the reboots. Plus, I do tend to enjoy retro games from this era. And I was pleasantly surprised with how much I ended up enjoying this. I played with the older graphics because I wanted to see how the game was originally, and I probably wouldn't like appreciate it as much, if at least like the remastered graphics as much, because I hadn't seen how it looked in the first place. I originally was having the same philosophy with the controls and was using the tank controls for like the first 2 levels, but I quickly switched to the modern controls because it was just more fluid and more fun. I did find it kind of funny though that I would have to switch back to the tank controls in a couple of occasions because I'd like glitch into something, and like the only way out was with the tank controls. I believe last month I only had played the first tomb, so this month I had done the remaining 3 tombs. I know earlier in the game the platforming was a bit more annoying to me, with the worst of it being in the second tomb early on, where it was just really, really annoying. But I think after that, I got the hang of it better, and it just really didn't irritate me as much. And also, I think I got a bit more, like, abusive with the saving, and if I knew something was, like, a hard jump, I'm like, yep, I'm just saving immediately, don't want to do that again. I definitely fared better with the combat, though, overall, and I enjoyed that more. And it was really only this one particular late game enemy that really gave me a hard time. And even then, they weren't too bad. I usually could like figure out where to stand to shoot them from a distance. I feel where this game definitely thrived the best, and what probably makes it a classic is the whole adventuring and puzzle aspect. I really enjoy how this generation, in particular with like the early 3D graphics, like makes it fun to explore like a 3D space. Even though they're like smaller and more like condensed, they just really were like experimenting with it and having fun with it and really focusing on like the 3D exploration. I feel the tombs definitely reminded me a lot of like Ocarina of Time's dungeons, which that's like my favorite game, so that definitely I think added to the appeal for me. I guess all you have to do is just have some like block pushing puzzles or something, and I'll just be like, boom, peak game design. While I wouldn't say the story was too sophisticated, I really enjoyed the like interconnectivity you discover between the tombs, and having that like classic Indiana Jones getting more supernatural as you get further and further in. So overall, I am really happy I finally got around to trying this out and playing it, and I definitely played it faster than I thought I would. Originally, I was going to go to like a slower pace at it, just kind of be like a little side game, but it did end up really like hooking me like by the end of the second tomb, and I wanted to like keep playing more and more. This is definitely my kind of game, and I'm definitely eager to play more of the sequels. I'm also interested in trying the Unfinished Business expansion of the game. I'm a little hesitant because I've heard it amps up the difficulty a bit, especially with like enemies. So I'm a little unsure if I want to play it, but I think I should just give it a go, and if I don't enjoy it, I don't have to try and finish it. My next 3 completions are all correlated with each other, as this month I decided to finally grab the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, which I've been eyeing for a while. First up, we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes, which I finished up on June 22nd. It took me 1 hour and 47 minutes to make it through the arcade mode, which at that point I had left it on the like default difficulty that the collection gives. I picked Spider-Man, Venom, and Chun-Li to use in the arcade mode, since I like the Spider-Man characters, and also Venom seemed pretty good when I was playing multiplayer with my fiance. And Chun-Li is my favorite character from Street Fighter 2, as she always felt pretty OP to me, so I always like to pick her when the option's available. This was definitely the one I wanted to really get the collection for, as I always like the just large amount of characters that the game has, and the fact that you just have a team of 3, it just is a really fun concept. I always thought this one looked really cool and was fun when I played it back when I would see it in arcades back in the day. Even though I barely probably knew any of the characters, I was probably just ooh, Spider-Man. And besides that, maybe I recognized the X-Men characters, maybe just Wolverine and Cyclops. Capcom side, yeah, I probably would have not known any of them. Maybe the closest I would have known any was Mega Man, but even then, that's a stretch. Nowadays, as an adult and the post-MCU boom, I definitely recognize most of the characters on the Marvel side, which is really cool now, because I wouldn't have back in the day. And even the Capcom side, there's a lot I don't know still, but I definitely recognize most of the Street Fighter characters, Mega Man, and Jill from Resident Evil. It was just really fun to play too, and the controls all felt super crisp, and there's just so many attacks, and it was just really fun and stylish. The arcade mode definitely did kick my butt, at least for a few of the battles, especially the final boss. Geez on that one. Probably a good chunk of the time I spent on the arcade mode was with that final boss. It was just crazy. Although I do find it funny that it was basically my signature move with Chun-Li with the rapid fire flutter kick saved the day for me there. Admittedly, I think I was slightly disappointed to see there wasn't any character specific endings at the end. I understand because you have 3 characters and just a giant roster, so it would be hard to do. But I guess it makes me not super motivated to keep trying the arcade mode with more characters. This will definitely be my go-to one in the collection, though, for playing multiplayer, because it just seems like the best one. My next 2 completions were both on the same day, on June 30th, right at the end of the month. Even though I skipped ahead to doing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, for the rest of the collection, I kind of want to do the fighting games at least in order. So, first up we have X-Men, Children of the Atom, which I was able to beat in 17 minutes and 7 seconds. Because, admittedly, after getting my butt kicked in the previous one, I decided to turn the difficulty down all the way to the bottom because I have no idea what I'm doing in these games. This did definitely lead me to breezing through the arcade mode pretty fast, as you can clearly see, and I still had fun with it though, because it is fun sometimes to just, demolish my way through. I picked Wolverine since he is the most obviously iconic of the X-Men, and I would just say probably my favorite one. I did really like how this one felt a lot closer to Street Fighter. It was pretty much just Street Fighter with X-Men, and it was fun, and I felt like I was getting some really good combos in there too. And I can definitely see it being the very early base for how Marvel vs. Capcom 2 ended up being. So it was cool seeing it go all the way to the past like this. And even though I was on the easiest difficulty, the final boss with Magneto was actually a bit challenging for me too. I didn't lose at all, but it was still I was ooh, this is getting kind of tough. I'm kind of glad I'm on this easiest difficulty. One thing I was definitely happy to see was that the game did have a character specific ending for the arcade mode. So I definitely kind of want to go back and actually try to see the other characters' endings. But admittedly, I kind of just want to make sure I get to every game in this collection first. So I just kind of moved on to the next game after this. Which, next up, on the same day, I completed Marvel Superheroes. This one I also completed quickly in 18 minutes and 58 seconds, since, honestly, I was really enjoying playing this on the easiest difficulty, and it's fun just to breeze through these. And I also am learning, these are the first time I'm playing these, so I don't really know the controls very well. And for this one's arcade mode, I picked Spider-Man, since Spider-Man's probably my favorite superhero. While this one is very similar to the X-Men game I just played, it honestly felt, or at least it was starting to feel less like Street Fighter, and more like how it feels for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think also the fact I played as Spider-Man, influences my comparison to the future game because Spider-Man was one of the ones I played for the arcade mode for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and his moveset is pretty much identical, I think. This one did feel ever so slightly slower than X-Men, though, although maybe it was just me playing a Spider-Man, because I feel like Spider-Man was not as fast of a fighter as Wolverine was in X-Men, so my comparison there might just be what character I picked. It also is neat that they added, like, the Infinity Stone mechanic, although I never actually figured out how to use them. I think you can use them, because the AI used them at least at one point, but I never figured it out myself. This one, too, is one I definitely want to, like, come back to play the arcade mode, because this one also has character-specific endings, so I do want to see those once I get through all the rest of the collection. I am really enjoying seeing how these evolve into each other, though, so I'm excited to continue seeing that. I already know, too, when I get to my end-of-the-year ranking, these are definitely going to be, like, tough to figure out, because I am enjoying these all, like, almost equally. But with that, that's all the games I've beaten this month. Definitely was a lot for me. Usually I have maybe one beaten game a month, maybe two, sometimes none, so this was definitely like a successful gaming month for me. But now with those out of the way, I want to talk about my ongoing single-player games that I have still yet to beat. One game I started this month was Call of Duty World at War. I don't really play Call of Duty much anymore. In fact, the last one was a few years ago with Black Ops Cold War, but I was definitely really into them in high school, with Modern Warfare 2 through Black Ops 2 being peak Call of Duty for me. World at War, though, was a bit before my time with Call of Duty, so I never actually owned it, but I did play it a few times at a friend's house with like the multiplayer, the co-op campaign, and zombies. I want to say it was several years ago, but I saw it at a garage sale for really cheap, so I ended up picking up a copy of it for PS3. And like I tend to do, it did sit on my backlog for a while. But I was wanting to really try the campaign at some point, and with the news that Black Ops 1 and 2 are coming to PS4 and PS5 soon, I was like, oh, this is a good time to actually finally play that, since it's related. So I ended up playing it, I think twice this month for about 7 levels, and it's definitely been interesting so far. I'm not sure if it's the game, the PS3 controller, or maybe just me, but I feel like it's a lot stiffer to control than a lot of other like shooters I've played in recent years. And like I'm struggling to aim, and it's just I feel like I was not that bad back in the day. Despite that, I am really enjoying this so far though. At least compared to the campaign of Battlefield 6, which I played earlier this year, the levels are a lot more fun and there's a lot of unique scenarios. And it also is pretty challenging. Like, I'm dying a lot at certain points, even though I am on the normal difficulty, so I guess that's pretty welcome, but it's not, like, infuriating difficult. Like, usually it's just me doing something dumb and being impatient. I guess it's, like, the set pieces are exciting and actually, like, enjoyable and action-packed, which is something I always remember, like, classic Call of Duty campaigns doing pretty well. The story is just kind of there for me for the most part. Like, it's interesting seeing, like, World War II battles happen. But otherwise, it's like just a World War II story. Other than Reznov, I love seeing his origin, and he definitely eats up every scene he's in. I'm definitely looking forward to finishing up this campaign and seeing it all the way through and filling that like hole I have in like the PS3 Call of Duty era. I do not intend to try the multiplayer though. I feel like at this point, there's either no one on PS3, or if there are, it's probably hacked to oblivion, so I think it's just better I avoid it. Now that I finished up my big game with Clair Obscur, my next big game I've started like getting back into is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I have been playing this on and off since its release, and even though like I love the game, I just keep getting distracted with like other shiny new games that end up being like my main big game. And I just really want to like get back into this and try and finish it before the summer ends, because I know I will get distracted once the new Fire Emblem comes out. But besides some small games maybe and multiplayer games, I definitely want this to be my main gaming focus for the time being. I'm not going to rush it, so if I can't finish it before Fire Emblem comes out, then that's okay. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and come back to it when I want to. But I have been really itching to play this more and hopefully get to the end this time. I definitely have been really enjoying my return to this game too, and it's always like riding a bike for me, and it's very easy for me to get back into. This month had me finally getting to Gerudo Town and exploring the desert a bit and starting the Gerudo storyline, and working my way towards my third dungeon in the game. I'm definitely really excited to be diving back into this, and excited to keep sharing it for the next couple months. That's it for the single player games I had ongoing this month, but I also played a few multiplayer games with my fiancée, Sarah, this month. We've been slowly working our way through the story mode of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which is a replay for me, but Sarah's first time playing. It's always a nostalgic blast for me to go through this again, and it's also been fun showing it to Sarah. I don't really have much more, I guess, to say on this right now, since we still have a decent chunk of the game left, but I'm excited to continue diving into this together. Before I started my arcade mode spree, me and Sarah also played the Marvel vs. Capcom collection together. We started with the first Marvel vs. Capcom, then moved on to the second. We always have a fun time playing fighting games against each other, and we also had pretty equal footing, I'd say, since neither of us knew the controls for these games, and we're just kind of winging it. It was also fun too, getting to see and get a feel for all the wide variety of characters they have in these games. I'm definitely really glad I picked up this collection, as I'm excited to continue playing against her, and also if any of my friends are ever interested in playing it. The final game I have to talk about today is Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, which me and Sarah also played. This was given away as one of the PS Plus games for the month, and we were eager to try it as we've had fun playing the first game. I generally stick with the Avatar: The Last Airbender characters, as those are the ones I only have those are the only ones I really have major attachment to. But I also did play Nigel Thornberry and Reptar a little bit. Sarah was definitely trying out a lot more of the characters than I was, as she has a bit more of attachment to a lot of the Nickelodeon properties than I do, since I didn't watch most of the shows as a kid. We definitely had a fun time. In general, I don't think this game is living up to Smash Bros for me, but it is still a very fun alternative to Smash. Not sure if we'll ever touch the single player aspect of this game, but I'm definitely always happy to return for the multiplayer. And with that, we are now done with everything I played this month. I really do hope that I can keep this up, and I had a lot of fun making this, but it definitely did take me a little longer than I thought it would. Particularly just mostly with the recording aspect, because it's sometimes just really hard for me to find a good time to record. The editing portion actually was really quick for me to make compared to my normal videos. But obviously, since I am talking about this as the video is going, you can kind of tell that the recording part was taking me a bit longer. I know in general I've felt kind of in a limbo with my videos, because sometimes it's hard for me to find a lot of free time to work on my more intensive videos. So I'm liking this as definitely more of a casual way for me to make a video. I know one of my many motivations when I started my channel was that I wanted to show all the games I was playing, and my way of doing that at the start was reviews, which I enjoy doing, but I've kind of started to feel stuck with the reviews. I enjoy making them, but I've also wanted to branch out with a lot of other ideas I have, but I've felt stuck with my backlog of games I've wanted to review and talk about. So it's been hard to do that. So I'm hoping this is a nice and easy way for me to scratch that itch of talking about the random things I play, in addition to my ranking videos at the end of the year. And then I can more specifically make videos on specific ones I want to review, or childhood classics I want to revisit, where I can go more in depth, and also just do more of the other ideas I have. But little tangent there aside, I am excited to keep this up, and because this is coming out later, I guess I can give a little teaser that in July, I do have a bit I played again, so I hope to see you around then. Until next time.